Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Bros Talking Soccer podcast. It is episode 82. My name is Dave Caniddle. I'm here with my brothers Christian and Matt to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, say hello so the YouTube viewers know what you look like.
Hello, YouTube viewers. I almost said the wrong word there.
There you go. All right. I'm glad you caught yourself. That's a lovely shirt you're wearing. I like it a lot.
Dave, you too, Dave. It's just really fancy.
Thank you. You know, I just try. I try really hard to be fashionable.
You know whose shirt I don't like?
I'm going to go with it's probably Matthew's. Matt, say hello so everybody can see you.
Hello. How is everybody?
There you go. All right, cool. So YouTube viewers, if you are tuning in for the first time, hello, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Please feel free to interact with us as we go along here. We will, in a minute or so, do a short podcast intro, and then we'll go in and be a little bit more, I don't know, professional to an extent. I don't know. We'll
professional.
Talk.
That's not what we are.
Oh, yeah, we're not professional, but we'll talk a little bit differently. So that'll be happening, and we won't be talking directly to you. That's what I'm trying to say. But please feel free to interact.
You'll be getting some content.
Yes, please feel free to interact with us. Let us know your thoughts on anything we talk about, anything you want us to talk about. Let us know. I got the chat feature up in the background here, and yeah, I think we're ready to get to it. So Christian and Matt, you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Once or twice. You guys got I guess my Wi-Fi might not be the greatest right now, but okay. It's working fine the last minute or so.
Okay.
It's happened for
we haven't had issues.
I was just letting you know.
Okay. Thank you. That's good to know. We can't control it, so we'll just cross our fingers and hope. All right.
Yeah.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 82 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Caniddle. I am here with my brothers Christian and Matt to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, hello. How are you doing today?
Hello, Dave. I am so excited to be back to our normal schedule. It's not every day, which was a little overwhelming, but it was still fun. And I'm ready to talk, just general topics, not just game-focused, tactical focused, but just broad soccer content.
Exactly, and I am excited as well. Matthew, hello. How are you doing?
Hello, David. I'm a little tired. I have been awake since 7 a.m. on Saturday. I had a lot of work to do. I've pulled consecutive all-nighters. Yeah. So I'm a little tired right now.
Okay, that is not an effective way to get work done, but hopefully you get some sleep and recover. Guys.
I killed it.
All right. I'm glad you killed it. That is fantastic. Guys, thank you for asking how I'm doing. I rode horses yesterday. All right. I can't believe we were going to gloss over this. What's up, Christian? Okay.
I'm kidding. Sorry, my percentage is down to 10, and I did not realize that. So hold on one second.
Okay. Christian's going to go deal with some stuff while he's doing that. I guess I want to wait because I want him to hear how the horses went. So YouTube viewers.
Hold your horses.
All right, YouTube viewers, you're getting a little bit of additional content. This will be cut from the podcast. Matt, that was absolutely fantastic. Christian is just scrambling in the background here. It looks like, oh my God. All right. There you go. He's in a better spot.
At least he waited until we started the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. The joys of trying to get shit done. Okay. I think Christian is set up again. Come on. All right. He's back. He's off mute. Christian, are you set?
I'm set. Let's get this going.
Okay. All right. So YouTubers, you get a little bit of additional content. We're going to cut that from the podcast, but I'm about to fill you in on how my horse adventure went yesterday. I can't believe you guys didn't ask. Okay. So guys, I can't believe you guys didn't ask about my horse adventure. Yeah, I just can't believe it. So for those who don't know, I rode a horse.
About you.
Yeah, I know. For those of you who don't know, I rode a horse for the first time yesterday, and it was fun. A lot of fun with my wife. I got her a gift for Christmas, and we finally used the gift certificate. But two things were weird about it. And so, first of all,
there was a lot weird about it.
Yeah, they don't tell you how to make the horse go faster, right? So they tell you a lot of things like how to sit in it. But my horse was just like, hey, we're going this speed and you're going to have to deal with it. So I kept getting just so far back. And then they would have to come over with a stick or something and just poke the horse and then it would go faster. So that was interesting. The second thing is they tell you how to sit and how to hold the reins and steer and all that. So I was so focused on my lower body because they tell you what to do with your legs, but they don't tell you what to do with your upper body. And so for the entire ride, there's a dude on a Segway taking pictures of you. And so at the end of it, you like look at them. They're crazy expensive. So we didn't buy any of them. But YouTube viewers, this is what I look like the entire ride. I look like this. My shoulders were slumped. I had the worst posture ever. And I didn't realize it until after the fact. And then I woke up this morning. My back is killing me. My just because I sat terribly in just terrible posture. And other than that, it was a lot of fun. I also held the reins really tightly the whole time like this. And so my shoulder's killing me as well. But other than that, lots of fun riding the horses, guys. So I had to fill everybody in. I can't believe you didn't ask.
I mean, it's not really a surprise, but yeah, okay.
All right. Thank you. I always appreciate it. Christian, do you have a trivia question this week?
I do. Do you guys know, this is going to probably be my last World Cup trivia question, but I thought it was probably correct to have one last one before we move along. Do you guys know the last time a Golden Ball winner at the World Cup was on the winning team?
Okay, that's a good question. So I know the last two weren't, so I got to think about that. But that is a fantastic question. We will think on it. Listeners, you will think as well. And then
wow.
We will give our guesses at the end. I'll give my guess. Matt is pretty confident in his answer. Before we get to the content this week, I wanted to give a quick plug for our partner, StadiumScene.tv. So Stadium Scene is a travel blog and website that you want to go check out before you go to any stadium in the U.S., I believe, and or Canada. They have recommendations on where to park, what bars and restaurants to visit before you go. In addition, they partner with content creators like us at Bros Talking Soccer. They have the Lads podcast, which is hilarious. They're really funny, doing mainly soccer and Premier League stuff. Game Day Tourist, he's doing a lot of travel blog things. And then they have all kinds of other sports as well, creating blog posts, YouTube videos, podcasts, so on and so forth. So please go check out StadiumScene.tv. Before we get to the actual podcast this week, we have a couple of changes. So longtime podcast listeners, it's going to be a little bit different. We're still going to be in 3 segments, but Christian and Matt are going to be taking the reins a little bit more as we go along here. And so we're going to break it up into 3 sections. U.S. soccer in the first section. Second section is going to be mainly England. And third section is going to be rest of the world. And so each of us has picked one topic to discuss in each section. So with that being said, Matt, I'm going to kick it over to you for our first topic this week.
All right. Thanks, Dave. So I think right now is probably the biggest time of, Americans abroad, like an abundance of Americans abroad and, kind of getting their foot in the door at these big clubs. And I was just wondering, do you guys think that, sending them over at an early age, I know Pulisic, he's done well at Dortmund, but especially George Weah at PSG. And do you guys think, Tim, yeah, sorry, lack of sleep there. Yeah. So Tim Weah, do you think he'll ever be able to break through into that PSG lineup, especially with I know Neymar might leave whenever, and you never know where Mbappe is going to go, but do you think he'll be able to break into that PSG lineup?
Christian, you go ahead since
I'm going to go first.
Yeah,
sure. That's a tough question. As of right now, I would say no, just based off of the lineup that they have, the star quality that they have, and the financial means that they can bring in anyone at any time. They're going to look for the best players in the world. I don't think Tim Weah is going to end up being one of the best players in the world. I don't see that right now. I hope that I'm wrong, but he said he wants to be the best American ever this week in an interview. So let's hope that happens. But I just don't see him being the same level as Pulisic. I think he's very talented, but he's more suited to like a mid-level club in one of the big leagues instead of at the upper echelon at the moment.
Because, he's still, 18, maybe 19? So he has, I think he's still 18, actually. So he has plenty of time to develop. We don't know where that's going to take.
I guess the question was not really where is he going to go. It's do we agree that we could send them over at a young age? Was that the actual question?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I addressed something very different there. I as of right now, you have to send them over there. That is where they have to be. That's where they're going to become better players. America's still way too far behind in their academies and their development stage. And I know Dave's smiling over there, like,
I disagree.
but just they have to be where the best players are. They have to be training at the highest level, and they have done it expertly over the last 100 years. They've just developed their entire system to build youth. And I know a lot of teams have changed that a little bit over there, and they're buying a lot more players than focusing on their academies and actually bringing players up. But there are teams over there doing that, and they are substantially better than American academies in development.
To an extent, I think where they excel is the development from maybe 18 to 22. That's where American, which is kind of the college age, where American really falls down. Now, younger ages, I think we can compete. And I think every situation is different. And so for some kids, yes, it absolutely makes sense to go over there and really challenge themselves if they can rise to that occasion. Because there's so much going through your head when you're that age and just so many changes and, mentally, physically, and all of that. And if you're away from your family and that really takes a toll on you, it may impact your development. And so it is not for everybody. Having said that, yes, the best players do go to Europe. And so if you want to train against the best, it may make sense. But just because you're training against the best doesn't mean that it is necessarily the best situation for everyone. And that's where I stand.
Okay, that was actually going to be my next question. Do you think, Carter Vickers, the time he spent at Tottenham, training with those guys, or EPB is going to City at some point? I know he's going to be loaned out wherever, but just having the opportunity to, train with Pep or Pochettino, how much does that benefit them?
That's incredible experience that you're not going to get at this level. MLS and other American teams, USL, NASL, they're not going to give you that. And you have to be over there training with the best tacticians. They're going to work you hard, and they know they have the experience. They've done it all before. So I think that is invaluable, getting to work with some of those upper echelon managers.
Matt, did you have something to say?
Yeah. So do you think they should go to those big clubs and learn from the coach from practice and then not get game time? Or do you think they should be loaned out and just kind of bounce around all over Europe for the next couple of years?
So for me, there's a point of diminishing returns. I think training against the best and learning from those best players is great, either once you are just developing. So Timothy Weah is a great example. He still hasn't broken out. And so he still has so much to learn from a lot of those seasoned professionals and some of the best players. And so for him, it may make sense for him to stay at PSG, keep training against them, and keep developing through training. But by the time you're 19, 20, maybe 21, you need to be getting game time at that point. And so in that instance, it doesn't make sense to keep training against the best players. You need to get in game situations, because when there's a game situation, things are different. There's different pressure and all of that. And so I think they need to eventually get game time by that age.
Yeah, and I think it's different for every player, as you said before. I think that Julian Green was training against Bayern players, and look what happened to him. He just vanished because he wasn't playing at the highest level. So I think each player is different, and sometimes they can just be a squad player who's training, and they'll be playing at a high level when they come to the national team. It happens every once in a while, but I don't think a lot of these players are ever going to star for their teams in these top leagues, for the top level teams. But they can be squad players. I hope that they can. I just don't see it happening right now.
Well, I think they can be stars. I mean, Pulisic is...
Yeah.
He's the only one, though.
I mean, McKennie is arguably breaking out for Schalke. Yeah, the position he plays is not going to make him a star because he's kind of a defensive center midfielder, but Sargent has all the makings of a pretty good forward for Werder, and he's already getting first team minutes at 18. I don't think you can blanketly say that none of these players can become stars for top teams.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. Those two aren't really on top teams right now either. So you could star for a mid-level team.
That may be a bit unfair to Schalke.
Schalke finished second this year, but they are historically pretty average. They bounce around.
Yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with him right now. Yeah. He's on a good team right now.
Yeah, that's true. Right now he is.
All right. Matt, anything else you wanted to add about this topic?
Yeah, just this last point. So, positionally, the people in front of him are Mbappe and Neymar, kind of the similar positions. Do you think you can learn from like a position player? Like, do you think they can like mentor Weah at PSG, or do you think, they're just mega stars and, they have talent that you can't necessarily learn?
Damn it. I tried to mute it. I tried, and I didn't make it in
We got a
time.
nice on-air sneeze. I think so, while Christian's dealing with that, no, I think he can absolutely pick up tips. Like, he can't emulate every single thing that they do. I mean, there's a certain point where talent just, they can do things that other people can't. But there's definitely things that he can pick up in training, even if it's something small, or even if it's something where, I don't know, they take care of their body in a certain way, or they do little things like to an opponent that, you may not even recognize, that just puts them off, and, things like that. I think there's little tips that everybody can pick up. Christian, last thoughts?
I agree. I just don't think that players like Neymar and Mbappe are really ready to be culturing young players. They just aren't. They don't have that attitude either. So PSG specifically isn't really the best place for that.
And they don't need to explicitly take them under their wing. It's not even that. It's just if he sees something in training or he picks something up here or there, it doesn't need to be a formal mentor relationship.
Okay.
All right, Christian, you want to talk about our next topic?
Yeah, sure. So I was at the U.S. Open Cup watching the Union march along to the semifinals last week. There we go. And we got a home match in the semifinals against Chicago coming up. Everybody get excited.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, what is it going to take for teams and just fans and the general public to take this competition seriously? Is it the oldest competition in the world right now for soccer?
No, FA Cup's older. FA Cup.
Okay, it's one of the oldest. I know that.
It is.
But
yeah, I think it's the third oldest.
It's definitely the oldest in America. So it's a big, big deal, and you get a Champions League qualifying spot for CONCACAF. So it has so many rewards by taking it seriously and getting far. Yet it doesn't feel like people care about it. Is it because of the culture in America? We're not used to cup competitions. What do you think it is?
Which of us?
Oh, yeah. Dave, why don't you go first?
Okay. I think it's a combination of factors. So for me, I don't think it is necessary. Like, there's enough soccer fans here that understand how soccer works, and you can be in different competitions and all of that. It comes from the fact that it's so poorly advertised and such little emphasis is given to it by U.S. soccer and, the powers that control it. I mean, the sponsorship is almost non-existent. You can't really find it on TV. It's always streamed. It's not on any television channels. And then on top of it, last I checked, I think the winning team gets $250,000. It may have changed from that, but a team has 30 players. Yeah, they only roster 20 to 25 throughout the competition or so. But even if you divide it evenly among the players that participate or whatever, it's like nothing in the sense of compensation for athletes, Matt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But if they win the tournament, do they get like additional funds for qualifying for CONCACAF Champions League though?
They get allocation money, and in MLS that equates to additional salary space that could eventually translate to invested in the players. But again, it's not just a straight, like, the players get that money.
All right. I would say my biggest, issues with, the U.S. Open Cup, it's probably got to be, like Dave said, the television and the streaming. Like, I don't think I've ever watched a U.S. Open game live. And I know the Union have been doing, like, great besides winning it the last couple of years. But the only reason, anybody really talks about it is because Christian has season tickets and, goes to the games. There's no media coverage. That something like that's like never going to be talked about on ESPN or Fox Sports, one of our big sports news networks. So I think it's just tough for people to even like realize that this is a competition. Especially for loose soccer fans, like people that don't follow too closely.
But it just seems a little ridiculous that I know it's not on television, and that already is an issue of mine. I don't know how no one has picked it up, and why they're not bidding on it. It's a soccer competition. It's for a cup. It's for a Champions League spot. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, but you saw You saw firsthand the fan attendance at the Union match.
That was going to be my next point. Why on earth are people not showing up if it's not on television? Why? It doesn't make any sense to me.
People don't value
streaming.
I doubt that. I doubt the stream is hundreds of thousands of people in the Philadelphia area or anything like that. It comes back to U.S. soccer doesn't make it a priority, doesn't glamorize it. TV doesn't glamorize it. A lot of teams don't take it seriously, and it's almost like an afterthought that this gets you into the Champions League, which it just blows my mind that teams don't take it more seriously. But it's a combination of all of those factors, and included in the teams is the fact that they don't market it that hard. And so it's a combination of all those factors. It's frustrating.
It's definitely frustrating. I just wish people would show up, because those games could be awesome. You look at the FA Cup later on in the competition, and it's crazy. The only time I've ever experienced an atmosphere like the finals that we went to is during the finals. I don't know why people don't show up before that point. It's still the competition, and you're trying to will your team on.
Yeah, Christian's referencing, the Union made the final in, I think it was 2012 and 2013 of the Open Cup.
13 and 14.
13 and 14.
No, it was 14 and 15. It was 14 and 15. Yep.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, whenever it was.
Definitely more recently.
Okay. But we went to the finals and got to experience that passion in person, and it really was a different level, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, it's just sad to see that people don't show up for their teams when it's a competition and the players need their fans.
Yep.
Especially with home field advantage being a part of it.
Yeah, Matt, anything else you want to add?
I don't think
Okay, Christian, anything else you?
No, I think we got that covered.
All right, cool. Last thing I wanted to highlight is U.S. Soccer recently came out with a YouTube series highlighting the up-and-coming players coming through the national team. And so we have it linked in the podcast description and video notes. So please go check out those videos. It was about 5 to 10 minutes per person, and just gave kind of the backstory on how they were brought up, maybe a little bit of background on, their development, and then how they got involved with the national team and kind of their club situation and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to bring this up. I think it was absolutely fantastic of U.S. Soccer to do this content, and I would love for them to highlight more things like this. So Matt, I don't know if you had thoughts on the series, if you had like a favorite player or anything.
I've been watching like a couple of them on YouTube. I liked Weah's, and I like how they're focusing on this next generation after what happened and us not qualifying for the World Cup, and then releasing it right around the World Cup time and kind of moving forward. So I think that was just a great move, and watching it gets you excited. Like these kids, the production of it seems like these kids have talent and they seem like they have a good head on their shoulders. A lot of them are playing for good clubs, and I think it's just good for U.S. soccer.
Christian, thoughts on it?
It's such an intelligent use of social media. I mean, it's something like you do, Dave. I'll give you a shout out there with the Soccer Tavern. It's highlighting certain aspects of the game. In this sense, it's highlighting certain players, and they're targeting the market of U.S. soccer fans. And we really, really need to move on. And this is just the beginning of that. And we're getting to see who's going to take us to the next stage. And we saw with England, they have a whole new generation that have a whole different mentality. You never know what's going to happen. You could really just fall apart to build back up into like something really different than we've ever seen before. And we have players playing at a level that we have never really had before. We have players on teams that are consistently in the Champions League, and they're starting for those teams. We've never really seen this before. We've had a one-off players, and every once in a while we'll see a player come through. Like Dempsey was very, very talented, but he never really even reached that top pinnacle level. I mean, he was with Spurs, but even at his best, he was still at Fulham. I think that this is such a smart move from U.S. soccer to really highlight this next generation and hope that something is going to change and their mentality is right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Matt touched on it in kind of our first topic, just this generation coming through and how talented they are. And I think that this is just so good of U.S. soccer timing wise, and also just giving us a little peek behind the curtain and just giving us more info about these players, because it makes me root for them. It makes me want to learn more and become more engaged with them. And so this was just fantastic on all fronts. Matt, anything else you wanted to add?
I guess to that England point, I think England does have a good, what's it called? They have a good generation going through right now. But do you think like that group, like the "It's Coming Home" thing, pretty much started out as like a joke in England? Sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked, but like, do you think that going forward, like that's the group for England to go on 4 years from now or 2 years from now at Euros?
I mean, for 2 years, yeah, I would say so. But after that, no. I don't think their talent is anywhere near what it was 10 years ago. They had ridiculous, but they have a different mentality now, which is really what we need to highlight. I think that's what we need in America. We need players who are different than what we've had before.
Well said. I don't really have anything else to add to that, Christian. Anything else you wanted to add about the U.S. soccer topic?
No, I'm just laying down the gauntlet.
All right, good stuff. So yeah, everybody, strongly encourage you, whether you're a U.S. national fan or not. I mean, a lot of these guys play on European clubs, so go check out those videos. Again, we have them linked in the podcast description and show notes. For right now, you're going to hear a little bit of music, and then we will talk to you right after that. See you. All right, cool. I started my timer late, obviously, because I'm an idiot and I can't do that.
The first topic was long, but the other ones were good.
Okay. All right, cool. Anything, any issues, questions, concerns?
I just texted you guys a topic for a podcast name.
Laying down the gauntlet. Nice.
I have to kill this spider really quick, but I'll be right back.
Good luck.
I was going to eventually bring up that I don't think the U.S. is that far behind England, and I know they just went to a World Cup semifinal.
You did.
Yeah,
but
I don't think that's
look at the teams they played in the World Cup.
Well, he did,
and it's just like I don't think we're that far behind. It's not like they were that impressive.
Yeah, and that's not like delusional. If anybody happens to see this, they might think we're being delusional or whatnot. I mean, so much of the World Cup is luck of the draw and finding the right form. You know, I argue this a lot of the time. I mean, the World Cup is not about the best team winning. It's about finding a collection of players that perform the best at the right time and all of that.
It's the best team. It's not
Would
the
they
best
play
individuals
like games total?
Together.
No, it's not even necessarily about finding the best team, because a team can get hot at a certain time and make the final. They could have a favorable draw. There's a lot of factors.
They are the best team.
It depends on what you define as the best team. Are you looking for the highest quality?
I'm not saying the best players. No, I'm just saying the best group of players that when they're together, they are the best team that's there. And they come together like this, they the best.
Matt, what were you trying to say?
I have had games where you beat teams that are better in like knockout rounds. It's like England played 7 games, they lost 2 and won 1 in a penalty shootout. It's like it's not like they were doing crazy things.
Sorry, Matt. I don't know. Matt just goes, they have beat. You can just tell he's tired.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So Christian, when you were killing the spider, Matt was just saying that he wanted to bring it up, but he didn't. That he doesn't think the U.S. is that far behind England, which may sound crazy at first saying, but I mean, when you break it down, and again, it's not just delusional, we're American fans or anything like that. There's a lot of points to that. And I'm really encouraged by this generation coming through. So that's a little bit of background while you were, ending that spider. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's teams that are significantly more talented, but we're not far behind England. I agree with that.
Yep. Okay. Christian, do you want to welcome back listeners, or do you want me to welcome them back?
My first here.
Yeah, you're first on the Chelsea's Empire crumbling.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. I'll welcome everybody back.
All right. Hold on one sec. Let me actually try to get this timer. All right.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Christian now. I know you got a little surprised and a little scared there, but here I am. All right. So we're going into England now, and we're going to focus on 3 topics. I'm going to kick us off here, and it's one that's very near and dear to my heart. I'm very excited about it. what's going on at Chelsea? Their empire just seems to be crumbling and just falling apart. It's amazing to watch. So, Dave, they just all their players are linked away. They clearly just are a mess. The players have left in the past. People are now saying they don't want to be there anymore. Conte left. He got fired. Sorry, is that how you pronounce his name? I actually don't even know.
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
Moved in from Napoli, who I really like the way Napoli have played for the last couple of years. So it'll be interesting to see how they play under this manager. But their star players are just consistently saying they want out. Hazard is being linked away. Williams linked away. Courtois is linked away. What is going on over there?
So the glee in your voice is just hilarious. And I'm not the biggest Chelsea fan either. I mean, I think what's going on is that Chelsea has always had this turmoil in the club. Since Abramovich has taken over, he has just fired managers left and right. But there was always this technical director, and he left last year. I wish I had his name. I do not have it on the tip of my tongue, but he was there for, I think, 10 to 15 years and at least played some sort of stabilizing figure. Now that he is gone, I think that has destabilized things even further when you don't have that guy who's at least got some sort of long-term plan and you just have manager turnover. You can't build like long-term success, in my opinion. And these players are naturally going to want away. If the manager's gone, tomorrow, there's just so many things that happen when a manager changes, the club formation changes, player preference changes, and just having that upheaval is detrimental to long-term success of a club.
Michael Imanalo or
exactly.
Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good job. Thank you for looking that up. Yeah. See, this is great teamwork here, guys. He
was there for 10 years and then just in a second was like, I'm leaving.
Deuces.
That was in 2017. So, yeah, Matt, what do you think's going on?
Well, the thing about Chelsea, they're always going through something. They have their cycles where they're on top, and then they hit that lull, and it seems like all shit hit the fan. But when they have the financial support that they have, I don't think they're crumbling necessarily. They might be on the outer edge of that top four. But, they brought in Napoli, the manager, Sarri. Yeah, that's how we're pronouncing it, I think.
Yeah.
Sarri. And he had a Napoli team that competed with Juventus in Serie A last year. And he brought Jorginho in, and him pairing with Conte in that midfield. I don't think there's not many that those two in the center of the field. I think they can keep them in any game.
Okay.
And Conte is not looking to leave, and I assume Hazard's probably going to leave. But then they get so much money for the transfer of Hazard, and then they can invest it in so many other ways.
Yeah, I agree, but there's going to be a huge lull for a year, like at least a year. They're going to have to bring in a whole bunch of other players who aren't used to playing together. And you always kind of see that when there's, especially at Chelsea, because they sign like huge names. They'll buy a bunch of players at one time, and then it'll take a little while for them to get used to playing together. Chelsea are such a weird team in the fact that they go really high and then they just crash really quickly. This time it seems different. In my opinion, I feel like this is almost a longer period we're going to see them struggling to get back. It doesn't seem like players are really invested in going to Chelsea. Yeah, they have the money, but they're now out of the Champions League. They just seem to be struggling to keep players happy at the club. And I think a lot of it comes back to Roman Abramovich. He just has to stop wanting everything immediately. He has to give some of the managers some time to build up some type of consistency. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I'm going to piss you guys off here. Didn't they win 2 of the last 4 Premier League titles? And they just won an FA Cup?
Okay.
So, what turmoil, what lows have they hit if they're winning trophies? They were the best team in England 2 of the last 4 years. They won the oldest competition in the world this year. And and people are saying just because, they came in 5th place this year, that, they're screwed.
Yeah, I think it comes back to other teams seem to have their act together more. And so outside of Arsenal, I think the other top four teams really, it's tough to see Chelsea better than any of the other top four teams and getting better anytime soon. I think that's where I come into play. Liverpool is now showing a serious commitment to investing in the first team roster. Tottenham, if they can keep their players, which, hey, we'll talk about both those topics in our next section, so stay tuned. And then, City obviously has all of the financial commitments, and Guardiola's attracting players. And then United, again, there's the money there. And so it's tough to see Chelsea overtaking them with all of the turmoil going on in the club there. So again, I don't want to discount what they've done. You're 100% right, Matt. They've won 2 out of the last 4. They've won a trophy, but it's just now it seems like things are different moving forward, which I think is Christian's point.
I mean, their last competitive game that they played, they won a trophy.
Yes, but they won the FA Cup over Arsenal, right? They played Arsenal, right?
Yeah, but that's still a trophy. Yeah. I mean,
I know it is, but like you could just feel the atmosphere at that club is different. Like it just seems gloomy. Like they don't seem to have any type of identity. Do you not agree that there's just so much turnover that they seem like a club that's a little bit lost and doesn't know which way they're going? Matt, no?
I don't think so. I mean, I think they had a great appointment of their manager, even though, I'll say, like time and time again, I don't necessarily love how quickly managers are fired. And Chelsea seems to go through that a lot. But, I mean, they made the right appointment. And I think they're going to have a solid year. Should I just get started with my next topic? Because we were talking about top four.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or is it your turn, Dave?
Go ahead. No. Go.
All right, all right, I'll just start. Sorry. So Tottenham, they haven't really gotten anybody this transfer window, actually, if I'm not mistaken. And do you think that lineup with the way even like Arsenal, Liverpool, United's going to spend, the way City is, do you think Tottenham is a top 4 team with the players they have now?
Yeah, I'll go first on that one. They're not making signings, but they're making internal signings, with Kane signing a long-term deal. Son just signed a deal till 2023. Lamella's signing extensions. Eriksen's signing. No one seems to really want to leave that club. And I think Pochettino is doing an excellent job at where he's at. He's promoting from within. He's not spending big, but they have such a talented first-team roster that they're going to be fine right now. I think that they do need to spend. I think there are a few spots in their team where they can improve. But right now, they're top 4 easily, in my opinion. And I think they're somewhat probably 10 to 15 points still behind City in terms of going for the title. That's probably where they would fall. But I still think that they're so far superior to other teams in London right now, Arsenal and Chelsea, that they don't have any reason to panic buy, and I think they're looking for the right players.
So we had 2 listener questions actually on this topic. So the first one comes from @World Hotspur. Will,
wait, are you saying that a fan asked about Tottenham Hotspur?
Yeah. Yes, they did. Surprising, considering it seems like everybody we have as a guest is a Spurs fan. But his question was kind of along these lines: is it more important for Spurs to lock up their current stars or to look for new signings? And so it sounds like, Christian, you're skewing more towards locking up their existing stars.
Well,
right?
It depends on this. In this situation, I think it is very important because these players know how to play together. They have had a long-term success. In terms of that club, I don't think that they've had long-term success in terms of winning trophies.
Okay.
But what?
What is your
Chelsea,
consideration of success? You're saying
for them, they're a
Tottenham
different
is
level
successful club.
They're a different level completely than Chelsea.
Why? We're talking about top 4. You're saying Chelsea's in turmoil, and
because they
Tottenham's
have spent.
Doing great.
Look at the cost of each of their rosters. It's a completely different situation.
It's not.
Okay, well, one's winning.
Yeah. So I think what Christian's trying to say...
Because there's consistency. That's what I'm saying.
Is that there's consistency, and you can see a path forward where Tottenham continues to build on the success that they've had, relative success in quotation marks. They've gone from a club that was very clearly outside of the top four to a club that is now a favorite for the top four, and they expect that momentum to keep going. And so from that perspective, I think it is really key to keep Pochettino and the core of that team. So for me,
if they were to sell Kane or Eriksen, the team looks completely different. And I think that's where they do need to build. They need to add that depth, because I think that's the point where they're lacking. I think other teams, Liverpool, United, and Chelsea and City, all have the depth that they can rotate players in. I think if Tottenham were to sell two of their key players, they look a completely different team. And I don't even think that they're clearly in the top six anymore.
Matt, what's your answer to, is it more important to lock up current stars or sign new players?
I think locking up Kane was the most important thing. And then I think they should have. I think there are spots on that team, and they have the financial freedom to get, another star. Maybe not, go out with a huge spending spree, but they could get one or two players that could significantly help this squad.
Yes. And then, so I just want to address that real quick. And so they have spent so much on their stadium. I think their stadium ended up costing double what they expected. And so spending has been restricted for a number of years because of that. Now they have a 63,000 seater stadium. They're going to get a ton more revenue from ticket sales. They're going to have more abilities to sell sponsorship, and you may see them start to spend more, which leads into our question from Anthony Chopa at Chopa AJ. He's got 2 Foot Talk, which I sometimes write for, so go check out that blog. But he asked, who should Tottenham be targeting in the transfer market? So, Matt, I know you were just talking. Do you have specific players and or positions in mind?
I think center back. Actually, I forgot they have Sanchez, who I don't think was playing. Davinson Sanchez. I'm saying I think Vertonghen got another year older. I think he's somebody that's going to need to be replaced. Maybe not this year, but going forward. I think, the drop-off happens pretty quick in soccer of when you're at the top and then when, it's hard for you to see the field. If Vertonghen gets hurt at his age now, I think it's going to be difficult for him, get to his form to where he was, once Defender of the Year in the Premier League.
Christian, who do they need to sign?
Well, to combat that a little bit, Toby Alderweireld is still there, and he's their best center back by far, in my opinion. And he hasn't gone anywhere yet. But Vertonghen is very, very good, and they're national teammates. They've been together at the club level for a long time. I think center back is fine for them right now. And with Sanchez, they have that depth. I think that they need a holding midfielder. I think Dyer's okay, but he's kind of a center mid, center defensive mid kind of mix. And he rotates in there with Dembele a little bit. I think that they could have someone who's more a lockdown defender, just kind of gets the ball, wins it back, and distributes it quickly. I don't think that they have that. They don't have a Conte, and I know that's an extreme player because he's probably the best at his position, but they don't have anyone who can do that right now.
Isn't that what Wanyama's supposed to be?
Yeah, but he's not. And I agree that they need that right now. They need someone to do that. Wanyama, for some reason, I don't know what he does out there. He sometimes is really good, and sometimes he just looks like he doesn't know how to play soccer. But I still think that they need another winger. I think that throwing Eriksen out there is a waste of his talent. I know he's still very talented even when he's out there, but he is an attacking mid, and they need him in that position. And I think Son is fine on one side, but they could bring in someone else to replace Lamela or anyone else on a wing, and maybe depth at striker, because if Kane goes down, they are screwed.
Yeah, so I think depth at striker is a good call. I know that they were able to get around that last season by, changing up the tactics a bit and putting Son up there and, having a kind of a 2-striker system. But I think somebody who could play similar to Kane in depth there would be key. But for me, I think, it's similar to just investing in depth. And so, that's who I'd like to see. Guys, anything else we want to add on Tottenham before we talk about our last topic? Matt?
No, we can move on.
Christian?
I would love to go on to this next topic.
All right, last topic. Liverpool signed a goalkeeper. Alisson Becker, starting goalkeeper for Brazil national team and formerly of AS Roma, just signed for Liverpool. Not just, but recently signed for Liverpool.
Just right now.
World record, breaking news, world record transfer fee. Christian, let's go to you first. Thoughts on the signing?
Oh boy! Oh, thank God it finally happened. Liverpool have a goalkeeper who is competent. I really was not. I was upset with Karius. I'm going to be honest. I was very upset with him. Everybody knows that. It was clear. I do feel bad for him now after some time has passed, and he is being so heavily criticized for anything he ever does now, even in these preseason games. It is ridiculous, and he can't be there anymore. He has to go somewhere else. And I feel bad saying that. And he adds depth, and it's a quality depth backup goalkeeper. But he's got to go. And Alisson Becker is a very, very good goalkeeper. I didn't think he played particularly well during the World Cup, but I've seen him play. I've seen some highlights, and he is very, very talented. He's more of a dominant goalkeeper in terms of just controlling the box a little bit more. Always does the smart thing. Like, he doesn't try and catch the ball and drop it into his net, which is my number one thing that I'm looking for in my goalkeeper. And I just think that this is a really big move from Klopp, and really isn't like Klopp to spend in a position like this. And they've gotten the depth at center back and goalkeeper now by spending 150 million, 140 million, something like that. So we'll see how it pays off.
Matt, thoughts on the signing?
I think it's a little too much money. I mean, how much is did Carey, other than the Champions League final? I'm pretty sure most Liverpool fans were saying Karius was a good goalkeeper for Liverpool last year.
He was. He's broken.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. Okay. I understand that maybe after that, but I don't think the team, this signing of this fee is making them substantially better.
I think it makes them better, but it also is a sign of intent on what they're trying to do. So on top of them, it makes them better, unquestionably. I think Christian's spot on. I was fine with Karius. Once Van Dijk came in, I thought he played much better in the second half of the year until the Champions League final. And I just don't think
Karius wasn't really playing much in the first half of the year either. Mignolet was in until Van Dijk came in most of the time.
Well, he was in and out, and I didn't think he played well when he was in. So the second half, when he got his opportunity, I thought he was playing better. And then outside of the Champions League final, when everything went to hell, and now it seems like his confidence is shaken. And for a goalkeeper, that is one of the toughest positions.
Death sentence. Yeah,
exactly. And so I think a change of scenery is necessary, but it also just signifies to other players and or clubs that Liverpool is here to spend big. They are now competing for top talent, and they're going after the biggest trophies. So yes, did they overpay for him? Yes, but it's a sign of intent there. So that's kind of where I stand.
They also were giving some extra money to Roma for us stealing Salah for practically nothing.
Matt, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I think it's smart for Liverpool. They're looking aggressive. I think spending the money, I mean, they have it. They're going to be in the Champions League. It's a desirable location for many players in Europe to go play at Anfield, but I just don't see this move. I like a lot of their other acquisitions this transfer window, but I don't think this move for doubling the goalkeeper transfer record to be a smart move.
So that is a great point, and something that at World Hotspur. So Will also had a follow-up question. I know he asked about Tottenham, but he also asked, what's your take on Alisson to Liverpool? Was it worth the money, or would have someone like Butland have been adequate? So Matt, I think we know where you stand on that, but Christian, what are your thoughts there? Would an English keeper or somebody 10 to 15 million pounds or somewhere in that region been maybe he would have been more. Maybe
I think this is more. I clearly think Alisson is a better goalkeeper. He is, and I think that Butland could have done an okay job. But I've seen Butland make the same mistakes Karius made. I've seen it happen. So we need somebody who is just solid at what he does. Like, I understand people are going to make mistakes. They're people. I know it happens, but with this position, it's tough to recover from. And I like Butland, but he's not the same player. And when you look at a player like Alisson, who is being targeted by Real Madrid, he's being targeted by other big clubs. to make the intent to go out and get somebody who's being targeted by Champions League rivals or club rivals in your own league is huge. Chelsea were targeting him too. And to get him because Courtois looks like he's heading out, it's a huge signing just to show that, hey, we're here to compete with you financially now too.
I'm of that opinion as well. The one point that I want to bring up, and I actually wrote about this for Anthony on 2 Foot Talk, Alisson has basically had 1 season of experience at the highest level. That was at Roma. Previously, he played a season or 2 in Brazil. Then he played 2 seasons at Roma, but he was on the bench for his first season. And then in his second season, Christian, what's up?
Nothing. I was just saying, just time-wise.
Yeah, I know. I got the timer going here. I'm monitoring.
That's fine. Sorry.
And then the second thing is that he only had 1 season at Roma. Well, yeah, he played great in that season, but he doesn't have a ton of experience, at the highest level. And so I don't think he just hit a great patch of form and he's going to implode, but he doesn't have 5 years of playing at the top level. And so that's just something to keep an eye on. He's 25 and I think he's got a very bright future. So I'm good with the signing. Matt, anything else you wanted to add here?
I think I've covered everything.
All right, Christian.
I mean, he's starting over Ederson for Brazil, so he clearly has the talent.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, and other than Ederson was good, and I thought he did a great job of starting attacks, but I wouldn't say he's the reason why Man City was winning games last year. I would say probably the only goalkeeper in the Premier League is De Gea that I think is winning games, like is actually contributing to to a result for United.
Consistent.
I think
like
maybe,
week
but
in,
I
week
think
out.
Lloris and Courtois are making ridiculous saves. You saw it in the World Cup. They have that ability.
I think Lloris makes great saves, and I think he also can make mistakes. And yeah, the World Cup final, he tries to dribble around the player.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him pass it
and
straight to the other team.
Courtois, Courtois can't kick the ball that well. And they're like a lot of goalies have their weaknesses, but I think De Gea as a shot stopper, he can win games.
Yeah, and I actually really like Ederson. I think if Ederson didn't become if Ederson moved to Man City a year earlier, it may be a different situation. Just Alisson happened to get the right timing. So that's it for the second section. You're going to hear a little bit more music, and then we're going to be back with our third and final section. Talk to you soon. All right, cool.
Should I try and find another insect to kill?
I will say, a year ago though, Claudio Bravo was the reason Man City was losing games.
During the podcast.
All right, very good point. All right, we're going to run through this last section a little bit quicker. I'll start, then Matt, and then Christian. Does that work?
Yeah.
Matt, your topic was, will Serie A compete with Premier League and La Liga?
I know, I was trying to get your topic up.
My topic's Osorio rejecting Mexico and moving elsewhere. We can run through that pretty quickly.
What is mine?
Oh shit! What did I just do?
Oh, right, I remember.
What the fuck? Okay, all right, we're back.
Blackout?
Yeah, I pressed something. I think I pressed spacebar. I guess that blacked me out. All right,
Ooh.
Ready? Welcome back, everyone, to our third and final section. First up, we are talking Mexican national team. Juan Carlos Osorio, Mexico national team manager, has reportedly turned down a contract extension with El Tri and is going to be moving on. So, Matt, do you have thoughts on Juan Carlos Osorio, his time in Mexico, and I don't know where you think he may end up?
I think with international managers, it's always just interesting to see, their career, how it cycles through their national ranks. It doesn't surprise me that after a World Cup and, kind of being a little bit disappointed where Mexico, they had the opportunity after beating Germany to go through first in the group, and then their last 2 games of the World Cup kind of didn't go as planned. After the first 2 games, they were hyped up as, people were saying, I know around here, people were legitimately thinking, why can't this team go really far in the tournament? I know Christian doesn't think that, but I mean, people were thinking
I
they
was
beat
thinking that.
Germany. Yeah.
Oh, I think we lost Matt's audio. I'm not sure what
We sure
happened there.
did. It's just silent. He's still talking though.
Yeah,
So
he is
that's
still
good.
talking, but we lost his mic,
Oh, wait,
unfortunately.
he might be back now. Hello?
Matt, I think his headphones may have died.
Nope, nope, he's not there anymore. Nope. Can't hear
No.
you. Nope.
Okay. Matt.
Hello.
Okay. Shit. What the hell was he saying? I completely lost my train of thought. Oh, the one thing I want to make clear. So he chose to
leave.
To leave. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just want to make it clear. So it's not like they didn't renew him; they chose to leave. Christian, why don't you give your thoughts while Matt's dealing with his headphone issue?
All right. I just don't know about Osorio. I don't know why he's so heavily linked with the U.S. I think he did a good job, I guess, with Mexico, but he didn't really have a standout performance as a coach. I think he did a good job of bringing talent together, which I guess is what you need at the international level. But he didn't really get it tactically right. People were saying this about him before the World Cup. He has one plan, and if it doesn't work, he kind of crumbles. So similar to like how Chelsea is. So it's just I don't know. I would be okay with him, I guess, but as we've seen over years, it seems that you have to have a manager from your own nation to actually do well. And we've seen it over and over and over again. I really think that we need to figure out some way to get, and right now I don't think that exists. We don't really have a high profile American available to take over the U.S. national team. I know you might think we do, but I don't think we have a big enough name to like really lead us forward. I think we need somebody who has a little bit more of a proven track record of bringing talent together at the international level. And Osorio would be fine at that, I think. He needs to get better tactically if we are going to move forward. And I think for him specifically, at the World Cup, it just went from ecstasy in that first game, and then each game was a drop of performance, it seemed. And I think between the third and fourth game, it was a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it seemed to be, they kept getting worse and worse with every game. And I don't really know if it was just exhaustion or all the travel, or just maybe they ran out of energy.
Yeah, and I think he's linked to the U.S. job just because he has experience in this country, and so it's he has some familiarity with kind of the quirkiness of U.S. But he has that international pedigree. Matt, we lost you for a little bit there, so welcome back. You want to continue your thoughts?
I jumped in. I missed a little bit of what you guys were saying there. Christian, were you saying that you think for a country to do well, the manager has to be from that country?
It seems to be that way historically.
Well, trivia question, Christian.
Yeah,
that you asked
every single World Cup manager has been from that country that they're managing.
Yeah, okay, but for United States, I think our best manager ever was Klinsmann.
Yeah, probably.
And he took us through the group at death 4 years ago.
I guess
I don't agree with that. I just want to say that, but that's fine, Matt, if you agree with that. But I do not think he was our greatest manager ever.
No.
Who
do you think is?
What do you think?
I think
Bob?
I think first generation Bruce Arena was basically the 2002 one. He stayed too long in 2006 and clearly did not do well this cycle.
Was he the best, or did he just have the best players at the time?
I think a combination. I mean, he gave them an opportunity, and what changed is that he stuck with them too long, and that's why national team managers should not last more than one cycle. Klinsmann, the same kind of a similar thing happened. So
yeah, I agree.
But sorry, Matt. So we're going a little long here. So Matt, your thoughts here on Osorio?
Oh yeah, didn't I already talk about this?
Yeah, you did.
Well,
we heard like 20 seconds of it.
Okay. I'm trying to think of it.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I think he made the right choice of leaving.
Okay.
And I think this is a good point for the whole new cycle to start over with a new manager.
All right, fair enough. And I think that's where I fall as well. Matt, do you want to talk about our next topic here?
Yes. So, as I'm sure most of everybody in the soccer community knows, Cristiano Ronaldo just went to Juventus.
What?
And yeah, as his following, it's just like jersey sales, ticket sales going crazy in Serie A. I'm sure so much money is going to be pumped into them because of him. Going for these next couple of years or however long he's at Juventus. Do you guys think that Serie A will generate enough money or get the proper managers in place to, compete with the Premier League or the top teams, not just Juventus, have teams like Roma did this year, and Napoli even challenged Juventus? Do you think going forward that the Serie A is going to be as good as maybe Liga BBVA or Premier League, be among the very best?
Which of us?
Dave, go ahead.
Chris, yeah, all right, Dave.
So I think that a lot of these things are cyclical, but I think what the Premier League has done from a business perspective long term sets them up to just be the dominant force in the market. And so Serie A has notoriously neglected a lot of the stadium infrastructure. A lot of the stadiums are not great or not modernized. I mean, I know Roma is getting a new one, and I think the San Siro.
They're all about the age of the Coliseum, so
yeah, not quite that old. But so from that, I mean, the fan culture isn't necessarily. Obviously, they're very, very passionate, but the in-stadium atmosphere is always a little bit odd. There, ticket sales aren't usually sold out. There's a lot of issues that happen in Serie A that don't happen in the Bundesliga or the Premier League, and Serie A is definitely ahead of the Bundesliga at this point. Bayern's just dominance of the Bundesliga has sort of done that, and Serie A is going through a period where they can be better. I just don't know if they'll be able to quite overtake La Liga and Premier League just because of the way they're set up.
Yeah, I think Ronaldo going there absolutely changes things. I think it gives them a lot of PR, which they haven't really had in recent years. I think Juventus has been a very, very good team that's been competing in the Champions League, getting far almost every single season. But other than that, the two Milan clubs disappearing is horrible for them. They had the two biggest followings for a long time, them and Juventus. And to lose them as the Champions League, the top level teams, I think gave a lot of people no interest in watching that league. Those two had such a fierce rivalry, and they really were going at the title every single year. And it's great that Juventus came up, but the fact that they're dominating the way that they are, and they've won 8 straight now, or are they going for their 8th straight? I don't even know.
I think they're going for their 7th straight, but yeah, it's 7 or they definitely don't have 8 yet.
Okay, I think they may have won their 7th straight then.
Okay.
But regardless, it's irregardless.
Irregardless, really.
I think that it's going to change. I think that they're going to catch up a little bit more. I don't think they'll ever catch the Premier League, but I think that they're in a position where they could overtake La Liga. I think that they could build up, and I agree with Dave that their infrastructure is kind of an issue in terms of their stadium, but I think that they just need to develop the talent and then draw their fans back in, and then get the revenue to improve their stadiums and everything. But yeah,
Matt, are we talking about quality of the league and teams? Or are we talking about, I don't know, worldwide popularity? What are we talking about here?
I'm thinking more of the top teams, and eventually I figure with the big names at those top teams, like money's going to go into the league and eventually just make it better from top to bottom. But for short term, will those top teams like Roma getting to the Champions League semifinal this year? Inter Milan, I'm going to disagree. I think Inter Milan's on a huge come up. I know they were bad not bad, bad
by their standards.
They were, by their standards, these last couple of years. But I think they made great summer acquisitions. I think they have players who are extremely creative that can score from anywhere on the field and create attacks, and I think they have a solid defense. And I think there are a couple teams in Italy that can legitimately compete for anything for the Champions League. Napoli signed, or their new manager is Ancelotti, right?
Yes.
I mean, and he's one of the the premier managers of the world. And, a club like Napoli, who's not, on the biggest stage, getting a manager like him it's looking good for the league.
Yes. So I think over the next 3 to 5 years, teams can compete, but I find it tough for them to seriously challenge kind of the long-term viability and business success of the Premier League. So I think that they could become the best league on a quality perspective if we're looking at it that way, but it's going to be very short.
Your face doesn't seem to agree.
Yeah, but because it's so subjective when we talk about that. And I mean, they could have a period where their teams go far in European competition and they get to the top of the coefficient table or whatever. But I think that they'll naturally come back down from it.
Could be similar. It could be similar to Spain. The top half is probably better than the top half in England, but then you look at the bottom half and England's just so much better. Just because of the monetary value.
Spain's got like a team with a 5,000-seater stadium in the first league this year. I was just doing some research, and it's going to be crazy. Matt, anything else to add on this topic before we talk about the final one for Christian?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Christian?
No, I'm ready to hop in. Do you have anything else you want to add, David?
Matt?
Quick question. What's going on with the AC Milan transfer ban and...
It looks like it got lifted.
Do they all get lifted? How does these transfer bans work?
Barcelona's didn't, but everybody else's did, it seems like.
Yeah, I don't know enough to really comment. I think they may have gotten new owners and they cleared the debts or something like that. So that was the last I heard.
Okay.
All right. Ready? All right. So last topic of the day here, everybody. So strap in. It's going to be a fun ride. So here we go. It is Neymar. So I'm not the biggest fan of Neymar. Everybody knows that. Do you think that he's in a position right now that he regrets his move to PSG? Does he regret leaving arguably one of the best teams, if not the best team in the world? I mean, it could be, obviously, Madrid might be now. But at the time, he was a part of the best trio arguably ever, and that team was so fun to watch. He moved on to get out of the shadow of Messi. Do you think that he's done that? And do you think that he regrets leaving? Matt?
No, I don't think he does in the slightest. I mean, he went to PSG. I saw like a bunch of websites that, they do those player ratings for how players perform. Like Neymar had the highest rating throughout the entire season in every player in Europe. He was the one that performed the highest. I think if he had a better World Cup, we would be considering him for Ballon d'Or. If Brazil went to the final or won the tournament and Neymar scored 4 or 5 goals, wasn't being extremely theatrical, and was actually playing well, and he's 25 now, right?
25 or 26, yeah.
Yeah, so at this point in his career, this is his time to win that Ballon d'Or. So Messi, he's always going to be in contention. If he's at Barcelona, there's no way for him to be in contention for that award. And for him as, a top 5 player in the world, he has to take on that challenge.
Yeah, I'm with Matt. I mean, I don't think he regrets the move in any way. I think there were a lot of qualifying statements in Matt's thing if he scored 5 goals and if he didn't dive theatrically or whatever. He ended up kind of a laughing stock for a large portion of this World Cup, which I think hurts his value or whatnot. But at the end of the day, no, I don't think he regrets his move to PSG.
Okay.
For a lot of the reasons that Matt highlighted.
Yeah, I think he definitely took a hit with his reputation.
So you don't think he would have won? You don't think he would be in contention for Ballon d'Or after winning 2 trophies and having the season he did, and then being maybe the best, if he did end up being among the best players at that tournament?
If Brazil would have won the tournament, yeah, I think he would have been in contention. But
yeah, I think he would have been. But as of right now, you said a lot of ifs. Coutinho was the best player for Brazil in the World Cup.
Yeah, but Coutinho's not winning the Ballon d'Or.
I know, but if you're not the best player on your own team, I don't think you can win the Ballon d'Or. I mean, you can. Obviously, you can, but I just don't think that it makes realistic sense.
Fair enough.
Okay. I'd say, in my opinion, sorry, I'll just throw my opinion out there real quick.
Yeah.
I think he slightly does. I think that he is in a position where he's probably not as big of a global superstar as he would have been at Barcelona. If he will be, if he goes to Madrid over the next couple seasons, those are the pinnacle, especially for Latin American team or players. That's where they want to be, and I just think that going to PSG doesn't make sense. I just never agree. I don't think Ibra should have done it. I know he was a star there too, and I know he is him. So whatever. But I think that Neymar he had that talent and he had that link up with the other two at Barcelona. It just doesn't make sense to me, and he almost looks like he's unhappy there. I know he's making a lot of money, but I don't think he's in a position or in a league or in a team that's really going to push and win him a Ballon d'Or. Even if he stayed at Barcelona, I just disagree. I think he was the heir to Messi, and when Messi steps, he's going to start going down. He's in 31 now, and I think over the next 2 or 3 years he could easily have been in contention.
I think well, the last 10 Ballon d'Ors have gone to two people. So, you're saying somebody from PSG can't win the award. Of course, somebody from PSG can win the award. It's just that Messi and Ronaldo have dominated the last 10 years. You don't think that. I mean, somebody from City or Liverpool, if Salah would have taken Egypt to the semifinals and had a crazy tournament, people will be voting for him all over the world for Ballon d'Or. So I think him going to PSG is hurting him as his career. I don't think that it's hurting him
but they have career. A cakewalk of a league all the time. It's not the
Barcelona just almost didn't lose for a whole year.
Okay, but do you see the teams that they play against? It's a completely different level. That's completely ridiculous.
No, but there are easy games. So, I mean, but you're completely discounting who PSG plays. PSG also there are some talented teams in Ligue 1. Yeah, they're not the quality of Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid, but there are talented teams in Ligue 1. And yes, the bottom of both leagues are terrible. And so if Neymar would have won the World Cup or taken PSG further, he absolutely can win while playing for PSG. So I'm in Matt's camp here. I don't think that he has to play on Barcelona to win. And you're saying he's the heir apparent.
He's now he's in a position where he might be outshone by a 19-year-old.
Yeah, but he still had to take that risk, right? And so for him, at least he took it. With him, he was waiting for Messi to step away, and Messi's not just going to do that willingly.
I guess it's just his type of personality. He doesn't have to win the Ballon d'Or. He could have been part of a team that was just the best.
It's what you want to do and accomplish in your career.
And he did do that. He won the treble with, the Messi, Suarez, Neymar. What is it? That was his first or second year. He's been on, So he's been on, the great teams. He's going to go down. People talk about those three as the best front three of all time. He's already kind of in that conversation. There's nothing more he could have proved while Messi was still there at Barcelona.
Why not? They could have done exactly what Madrid just did, where they won 3 titles in a row. They could have easily done that if all 3 of them had stayed together.
What's that for his legacy? We're talking about his legacy.
What do you mean? That absolutely helps his legacy. It doesn't matter what he gets, what award he wins at the individual level.
It helps Messi's legacy. It helps Messi's legacy more than it helps Neymar's legacy.
Yeah, Neymar wants to be the best in the world. You don't see,
but when Messi retires and Neymar wins, or not retires, but just slows down and Neymar wins 3 in a row, then it doesn't really, because people will be like, oh, okay, well, Neymar was on the rise then. When you're looking back, that's what you'll see too.
We will never see somebody just win 3 in a row again. Or not say again. That is so rare that these guys are just dominating this era. We're just assuming Neymar is just going to, because he was the star guy, he's already in that age where he should be competing for this award. And saying, Messi and Ronaldo probably are the 2 favorites again this year.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's...
Yeah, I don't think you can say never going to see three guys win an award 3 times in a row. But But Matt has a good point. I mean, the domination that we've seen has been, I don't think is going to be replicated. So I don't think Neymar regrets his move. Christian, anything else on this topic?
Nope.
Matt?
No.
All right, before we get to listener questions, wanted to give a couple quick plugs. Christian and I are both repping Fan Futsal, so it's a simplified fantasy soccer website. I'm the founder. We have a couple 1 week games going on right now where the winner, it's free to enter, completely free to enter. Winner gets a Roughneck scarf, courtesy of Roughneck Scarves. I got my scarf wall over here. So yeah, Christian just won one and is pretty excited about getting his scarf. But yeah, free to join, sign up. We have you select 5 clubs instead of 8 to 11 individual players, and the scoring is all simplified. So go check it out, fanfutsal.com. And also check out the Soccer Tavern YouTube channel. We're making videos about the history, culture, and philosophy of the beautiful game. Christian gave a little plug for it earlier. Currently doing my research and making videos for the 3 newly promoted Premier League club teams. And so new videos are coming out within the next couple of weeks. Listener questions here. We already addressed some of these. Anthony Chopa at Chopa AJ. What are the chances Dave gets hurt on the horse? I said about 30% before I went. Glad I didn't end up getting hurt. Christian, what would have been your guess?
I don't know. Probably like 10%. I don't think you're going to get hurt. I mean, you're kind of hurt, though.
Wow.
Matt?
That's a good guess. I was actually thinking 10%.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm more, again, I wasn't hurt because of the actual horse, but I am pretty damn sore from it. We did have a really interesting question from at the Game of Footy. John Collins, he was on one of our World Cup podcasts, and go check out the Game of Footy. They have 3 podcasts that they do, but he asked about the International Champions Cup. So for those who may not know, the International Champions Cup is a friendly competition put on in the US. I think it has other ones around the world now too. I think there's some in Australia and Asia, but basically big teams from European soccer come and play a bunch of friendlies. And at the end of it, there is a trophy awarded, but it's largely kind of ceremonial and somewhat meaningless. But his point was it's not considered an actual competition by fans, but does it help or hinder the development of soccer in America? It's in the middle of MLS season. European clubs come in and start shouting, "Look at me." Does MLS suffer, or do attendances rise after it? Like, does it serve as like, hey, I'm going to go check out MLS? So I know this is probably an entire topic we need to cover in and of itself, but do you have any quick thoughts on it, Matt?
Yeah, so I think because of where, American culture is with, the general public and how their relationship is with soccer, getting the best teams for the small window we can for, the general public to see. I think that's good to spread maybe just an enjoyment of the game, whereas sometimes, the MLS can't be, compared to, the same product that these teams bring. So I think being able to see these stars gets, the attention of many Americans.
Christian, thoughts?
I don't really think it has much of an effect. I think that the teams are coming over and it's more of a media ploy and just a PR for the clubs than it is actually affecting the MLS or any US soccer. I think it just gives people an outlet to go see their European teams that they like and they support when they're watching during the season. But I don't think it has much of an effect, really.
Yeah, and I think if you're fans of MLS, you're going to continue being fans of MLS. If you're fans of European soccer, you're going to kind of continue that. And hardcore fans, again, don't put too much stock into it. I haven't watched a minute of it, to be honest. But when Liverpool came and played AC Milan out in Santa Clara a couple years ago, I went and saw them because I support Liverpool. And so, at the end of the day, as long as you go in knowing like this isn't going to be necessarily their first team, they're not going to be trying incredibly hard. It's just, interesting to see some of your favorite teams. And so as long as you approach it from that perspective, I think it's fine. Christian, do you have our trivia question? You want to recap it?
Yeah. The trivia question was, when was the last time a golden ball winner at the World Cup, so best player in the tournament, was from the nation that won?
Okay. So since
Go
Matt,
ahead, Dave.
Yeah, since Matt knows, I know Messi.
Okay.
Let me go. Messi won in 2014, coming in second place. Modric won in 2018, coming in second place. I'm going to say, I don't even know if he won, but Iniesta in 2010. I don't know if he won the golden ball, but that's going to be my guess.
All right, Matt, go ahead.
2006, Fabio Cannavaro.
That was a good guess, but that is incorrect. He won the Ballon d'Or, but he did not win a Golden Ball.
That's what I thought. That's what I was thinking.
It was 1994 in the U.S. was the
What?
last time that the Golden Ball winner was from the nation. The last 6 have been determined by the runner-up, other than what year was it? Oh, what shit? Who was it? Who won in 2010? Forlan. Forlan won, and he was the 3rd place team.
Wow.
Diego Forlan won. Yeah.
Holy
Who
hell.
won in 2006?
I think Zidane may have won it, actually.
I can see that. That was
After
a good
the headbutt.
Okay. Great trivia question. Listeners, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the new format. Please let us know your thoughts on it. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you listen to us on. Just got on iHeartRadio, so pretty exciting about that.
iHeartRadio.
And hopefully we're still trying to get on Spotify. That's apparently a huge pain in the ass. So we're going to keep after it. So please, help us out in any way you can. If you want to get in contact with us, our Twitter handle's at BT Soccer Pod. Also, our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. We have a website, brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com. You can read about us, check out past episodes. And if you would like to support the show, please go to our store page. If you buy anything on Amazon, just click the link on there and it'll take you to Amazon. You can buy whatever you want. No additional cost to you. But again, we get a small percentage of that, and that just helps us cover the cost of the show and just support us. And we would greatly, greatly appreciate that. Listeners, thank you so much for being here. Christian, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Dave.
You did a great job. Matt,
you
thank
did
you.
Just spectacular.
Matt,
thanks.
You. Yeah. Awesome. All right, listeners, thank you so much. We will be back next week on Sunday. We're recording on Monday this week, but we'll be back to our normal time Sunday next week. Talk to you next week. See you, everybody. All right, YouTubers, anybody still here, you deserve a gold prize because this was a bit long. We're going to try to get more efficient as we
still
on here. No, but if somebody is watching this in the future and happens to see this, you just send us if you are still watching in the future, leave a comment or send us an email or something. We'll try to get you some sort of prize or whatnot. Yeah. All right.
Jack was watching for a while. He was texting me.
Nice. Well, hello, Jack, and thank you for tuning in, but you're not here anymore. Listeners, viewers, just take care. We appreciate you, and we'll see you.
Have just the greatest day.